All right, Reddit, here's my deal. I never thought I'd be spilling this stuff online, but I've been holding on to this for ages and it needs to come out. So here goes. I'm a 35-year-old guy and most of my life has been about construction. I jumped into it right after high school, just a regular worker at first and slowly moved up. I don't sit in some fancy office. I don't have one of those jobs with the weird hyphenated titles. I use my hands. I build stuff that actually stays up. You'd be surprised how much respect people have for that until they start chasing something better. Anyway, I was married for 3 years. My ex, Jennifer, is 30. She's in PR or marketing or whatever, spending more time chatting about vibes than actually doing anything. I used to joke that I got paid to sweat and she got paid to send emails with emojis. For a while, it was good. We had a nice thing going, shared dinners, weekend stuff, the whole couple routine. Nothing amazing, but it was consistent. We weren't at each other's throats and we weren't distant. That's why what she said when she got back from her trip was so out of the blue. She went to Dallas for a weekend with her girlfriends, just shopping, some spa stuff, expensive drinks. You know the drill. Evelyn, who's 31 and my best friend, was there too. Evelyn's just the best, and me? I was always Miss Enthusiasm, pretty grounded. I was the chill one, I guess. But in this friend group where it sometimes felt like we were all on a reality show, Jennifer came back from her trip. Different, like really different. It wasn't just travel fatigue or a hangover. She seemed lost in thought, cold and distant. She'd just sort of zone out mid-sentence. She'd be glued to her phone, grinning like she was watching a comedy show. I figured she just needed some downtime, so I didn't push it. But then on Tuesday night, it all came out. Thinking back, it started a few months before the trip when Jennifer started hanging out with her friend Brittany way more than usual. They never really did that before, and Brittany's always been, well, a bit much. She's always going on about keeping your options open and how relationships shouldn't be prisons, which is hilarious, considering her longest relationship was with her stylist. Jennifer was suddenly doing weekly dinners with her and getting home super late for someone who was supposed to be having deep talks. Every time she got back from seeing Brittany, something was off. She'd be overly happy or super snippy for no reason, like she was trying to convince herself of something. At the time, I just figured she was going through a weird phase or needed her space. So, my wife, Jennifer, was all over the internet talking about how to wreck your marriage and calling it self-care. Can you believe that? We were in the kitchen, me making eggs, and she's just standing there watching me like I'm about to break her prized mug. Then out of nowhere, she says, as if it's no big deal like changing laundry detergent, "I think we should try an open relationship." I figured she was kidding around. I chuckled and kept cooking. She didn't even crack a smile. I turned around and she was stone-faced, totally serious, like she'd rehearsed the whole thing. I said, "Wait, what?" She says it again, same calm tone, like it was nothing. "I just think it could be good for us," she said. "It's not a big deal. Lots of couples do it." Seriously, it's like it's the latest fad, some trendy new thing, like meal prepping or matching pajamas. Like she'd seen it on Pinterest between DIY smoothie bowls and articles on spicing up your marriage. I was just staring at her, trying to figure out which wife I was talking to. Because the Jennifer I married would have said, "If you cheat, I'm gone," no questions asked. But this Jennifer's all, "Hey, maybe we should schedule the cheating instead." So I leaned against the counter and asked, "Where's all this coming from?" She just shrugged, that whole "this is just how I feel" thing. "I've been reading a lot about it," she said. "Brittany's in one, says it changed her life." Ah, Brittany, of course. It all made sense then. This is the same Brittany, the one who thinks every bad choice is some kind of freedom. The one who said monogamy was just some system holding people back. That same Brittany, whose idea of getting in touch with herself is signing up for a new dating app every month, calling it self-discovery. I didn't even say a word. I just went back to the skillet and flipped the eggs. And she just kept on talking. It was all about personal growth, learning more about yourself and still picking each other, but without all the rules, Oh yeah, totally. Like, what's a better way to make your relationship stronger than by letting other people hop right in and get comfy? She kept going on, sounding like she'd read way too many inspirational Instagram posts and thought she'd cracked the secret to love. I didn't say anything. I just let her ramble because honestly I wasn't even shocked anymore. I was just bummed out, not because of what she was saying. People try all kinds of stuff in relationships. I was bummed because she didn't even talk to me about it beforehand. She didn't even ask. She just decided this was the plan and sprung it on me, probably expecting me to be like, "Wow, how bold." Instead, I just handed her a plate of eggs, no comment. And just like that, she went from being my wife to someone I didn't even know. I didn't yell, I didn't throw a fit. I just stood there trying to wrap my head around the fact that this woman, the one I'd built a life and a home with, was now talking about inviting others into our lives like it was some fun thing to do on the weekend. But here's the thing, this wasn't just a passing thought for me. This was something that had been stewing in my mind for ages. It felt like she might already have someone else. Brittany had just thrown a match onto a bonfire inside my head. That's what my gut was screaming. So the following day, instead of saying, "No way," I just went with it. I said, "All right, let's see what happens." Her eyes lit up. You would have thought I'd just given her a winning lottery ticket. She asked, "Seriously, you're okay with this?" I told her, "If it makes you happy." And let me tell you, that night she was practically bouncing off the walls, acting like she'd just been let out of solitary confinement. I kept my cool, but my mind was already racing. I've always believed that people will eventually spill the beans if you let them talk long enough. And Jennifer? Well, she was gearing up for her big performance the next morning. She was always texting and constantly leaving the house. New clothes, perfume that cost more than my tools. She claimed she was just getting coffee with a friend every night. The same old girls' night out excuse. She thought I hadn't noticed, but I'm not an idiot. The thing is, I didn't say a word. I didn't ask her any questions or call her out. I didn't even get mad. I just kept going to work, doing my job, pretending I couldn't see through her. Frankly, it was easier to stay quiet when I had a strong feeling she was looking for more than just an open relationship. She was already moving on before we even got to that point. So I figured I'd just play it cool, you know? I started paying close attention, just observing. Basically, I let her hang herself with her own rope. Jennifer didn't want an open thing. She was just testing the waters, updating her options. And me. I was about to take the scissors to that rope, but here's where things got really interesting. My sister Nora reached out. We're tight, always have been. She's a couple of years younger than me, and she's never one to beat around the bush. If my hair looks bad, she'll tell me. If my car reeks, she'll say something before she even gets in. So out of the blue, she texts me. "Can we talk? It's about Jennifer." I told her, "Come on over." I figured she'd either be vague or give me some advice I'd already heard. But no, Nora showed up like a force of nature. She walks in, sits down, and lays it on me. "Lee, you think you're handling this open relationship thing like a boss, but I need you to know Jennifer's already cheating on you." That got my attention. I asked her how she knew. She whips out her phone and shows me a screenshot of a group text between her and some girl who used to hang around with Jennifer and her friends. Apparently, Jennifer told this girl during her trip that she'd met someone with possibilities. The text also said Jennifer was already texting a rich guy before the girl's weekend. The tech CEO, the one with the fancy car and all the networking trips, the one whose glasses cost more than my whole truck. Yep, I was right. She was already onto someone. One of her texts was literally, "If I play this right, I'll never have to worry about money again." Jennifer was practically talking about this guy like he was the winning Powerball. I just sat there trying to process it all. It wasn't like I didn't believe it, I did. I'd had this awful feeling for weeks, but to have it confirmed like that? Honestly, it wasn't even anger. It was like freezing. Nora chimed in. "I wasn't gonna say anything at first, but watching her walk all over you was making me sick." I appreciated that more than she knew. I told her not to tell anyone else. I wasn't ready to say anything, not to the world anyway. Because when someone shows you what they're capable of, you let them keep going. Let them get comfortable, let them think they're winning. It makes the ending so much easier to arrange. Now that I understood what was happening, it all clicked into place. The open relationship thing, that was a play. Jennifer was asking permission to sleep with Mr. Rich Guy, but she didn't want to be the bad guy. She wanted freedom without any consequences. And me, I was just supposed to play along, maybe see some other girls. Let Jennifer have her fun with Rich Boy and then either gently disappear or wait for her to decide. Yeah, that's when things really went sideways. So I started noticing Evelyn. Let me be clear, absolutely nothing happened between us before this. Evelyn's not the kind of woman who throws herself at anyone. She's smart, always looks great, and she knew things were messy, so she kept it totally professional. But after Jennifer and I went public with the open relationship thing, I went back over everything in my head. Like, the way she'd look at me while I was fixing the porch railing. Or last year, how she hung back to help me clean up after Jennifer's birthday bash. She never gossiped, never flinched, even when things got really tense between me and Jennifer. Then she texted me just a simple, "Hey, how are you holding up?" I didn't know what to say. I mumbled something about still breathing, and she wrote back, "You don't deserve this. I've seen what's going on. You deserve so much better." That one hit different. It was the first time anyone had actually said it out loud. Everyone else tiptoed around it, but Evelyn just laid it all out there. After that, everything changed for me. I wasn't just trying to play it cool anymore. I was planning something. Not revenge exactly, but I wasn't about to let someone trash everything I'd built while they were off shopping for upgrades. And yeah, I did something. The thing is, I didn't have to do anything sneaky. I just started small, bringing Evelyn into the picture really casually. It was a gradual thing, you know. She popped in to grab a jacket she'd left at my place. I figured why not and asked if she wanted coffee. She said, yeah, sure. We talked for like 20 minutes work, life, the usual stuff. She was so over Jennifer's drama, completely worn out by it all. She said Jennifer practically loved stirring things up, then flipped out when things got messy. I just chuckled and said, tell me about it. After that, things just happened. Evelyn started showing up more often, sometimes dropping things off, sometimes just to chat. I was working on the car outside one day, and she was right there, handing me tools, holding the flashlight, asking about the parts. Most women would have been totally bored watching me mess with rusty bolts, you know, but she actually listened. Then Jennifer started to notice. That night, right before bed, Jennifer casually drops, "You've been spending a lot of time with Evelyn lately." The next morning, I didn't even bother lacing my boots properly before I just looked at her and asked, "Why? Is that a problem?" She shrugged, trying to play it cool like, "Nah, just saying." I grinned. Good, 'cause I wasn't asking. The next day, she went full detective, no warrant, but she sure wanted one. "Was Evelyn here again today? Did she say anything about me? Why's she texting you so much?" At first, I played it off. I just said she'd stopped by or needed to borrow the drill, which was true. Evelyn had borrowed my drill once. I can't say for sure if she actually used it or if it was just to freak Jennifer out. Regardless, her goal had been accomplished. That's when everything became super obvious. Jennifer dumped the CEO. She said he was too much and she needed some breathing room. She started trying to get back with me. I started whipping up more dinners. He started calling me babe again, like that would wipe the slate clean. Then one night I came home from getting supplies and she was having a fancy meal. So I walked in and asked, "Is it someone's birthday?" She smiles and says, "Nope. I just thought it would be nice for us to hang out, just like the old days, right?" The old days. Before she practically tried to trade our marriage for some guy who apparently has a cologne called liquidity. I sat down, ate in silence, then said, "Evelyn mentioned you make a really good mushroom risotto." She just stopped. Her face kind of twitched like her system had crashed. "You talked to Evelyn about this?" "Yep. She said she used to help you with the recipe." Jennifer forced a smile that seemed like it might crack her face. After that meal, things went south quick. She started shadowing me, glued to me around the house, asking what I was doing, who I was texting, and if Evelyn had said anything else. I said, "She said you're creeping around the kitchen like you're auditioning for a horror movie." That didn't go well, but here's the real kicker. One weekend, I asked Evelyn over to help with the fence in the backyard. I was inside, pretending to read some book we'd gotten just for looks. Evelyn and I were outside, busy with our project, goofing around. She was giving me a hard time, saying I always measure twice and still mess up the cuts. I shot back with some joke about her tiny hands and power tools. Honestly, that moment felt so right, like I'd been missing it for ages. Then I glanced up, and Jennifer was at the window, staring out like something from a scary movie. I waved, and she vanished. Later that night, she tried to make me feel guilty. "I feel like you're pushing me away," she said. I just said, "You literally asked me to be okay with you dating someone else. That's not pushing, that's giving you a green light." She lost it. "But you never wanted it. You just said yes to trick me." I replied, "No, I said yes because I wanted to see how quick you'd run off with someone else." Turns out she was speedy. She stormed off. The next day, Evelyn texted me. She called me this morning, wanted to talk. "She's losing it," I texted back. "Good, let her." She wanted me to be open with her. I knew she was about to get a taste of what it's like to be shut out. Jennifer thought she had things all figured out. She probably thought I'd just sit around, too clueless, too passive, or too devoted to do anything, but wait. She didn't get it. I was already making my move. Things were different after that. Evelyn and I weren't just chatting anymore. Something had shifted between us. I felt it, and I bet she did too. It wasn't forced either. It wasn't rushed, you know? It just felt right. So I asked Evelyn over for dinner at my place. She brought this amazing lasagna, layers and layers, perfectly crispy on top. It smelled heavenly. And yeah, everyone says Evelyn's a cooking whiz. We sat at the kitchen table, plates piled high, just laughing about silly stuff. Nothing felt fake or strained. Just two people who'd been through a lot, finally having a peaceful night. It felt completely perfect. About halfway through, I looked at her and said, "Look, I'm done playing games." She stopped eating, put down her fork, and stared at me like she'd been waiting for those words all night. "Me too," she said. There was this quiet moment, everything seemed to slow down, and then she said, "I should probably tell you something." I raised an eyebrow, waiting. She smiled, not a smug smile, but like she was finally letting something go. I've always liked you, Leo, she said. Even back when you and Jennifer were together, I never said anything 'cause, well, you were with someone and I don't steal other people's boyfriends. But I saw how you treated her, how dependable you were, the way you built things, not just houses, but, your whole life, your relationships. And I always wondered what it would be like if someone like you liked me. I didn't say anything at first, just let it sink in. Not because I was shocked, but because it was so refreshing to hear someone be completely honest. I looked at her and said, well, I'm picking you now. No more wondering. Her eyes met mine and she nodded. We're really doing this? I asked. A huge, sure smile spread across her face. Yeah, we're doing this. And that was that. No drama, no weird rules, no emotional mind games. Just straight talk, good food, and a woman who made me feel like I was the one she wanted, not just some guy she was using. It had been so long since I felt that way, I finally started to believe it again. So the next day I came home from work, still in my dirty work boots, and found Jennifer on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she was trying out for some reality TV show. Evelyn was supposed to be there in about 15 minutes. I figured enough was enough. No more beating around the bush. I sat down all casual, like I was about to ask what was for dinner. Jennifer, I said, just wanted to let you know Evelyn and I are together now. It's official. Her scrolling stopped dead. You're kidding. Nope. With Evelyn, my best friend, I nodded. Well, you said we weren't exclusive anymore, remember? I'm just doing what you said I could do. She jumped up so fast, I swear the couch needed a therapist. You're disgusting. I can't believe you do this to me. With her, what kind of man? I cut her off, calm as could be. I'm the kind of man who gave his wife a chance to be honest, who stuck around while she was messing around with some CEO. Like our marriage was her plan B. You didn't just leave the door open, Jennifer. You ripped it off its hinges. She started pacing and screaming, throwing every insult she could think of at me. Evelyn's getting called a phony, they're calling me a backstabber, and we're getting blamed for plotting against her. Then she chills out and says, I've been doing some thinking and I don't want an open relationship anymore. I want to go back to how things were. Like, wow, easy peasy, right? Like my bad. Let's pretend I wasn't trying to sleep my way to a bigger paycheck. I just stood there for a beat, letting the silence do its job. Then I looked straight at her and said, yeah, I've been thinking too, and I want you to start packing. Have you ever seen someone blink so fast they practically froze? That was her, totally shocked, like the numbers didn't add up in her brain. You're not serious, she says. Oh, but I am. You can expect divorce papers. And she took a step back like she just figured out the earth isn't flat after all. You're divorcing me. She asks like she's the star in some cheesy play, acting like I was the one who messed up. So I said it plain and simple. No, Jennifer, I'm divorcing the you that forgot what commitment is. The you who thought love was something you trade up when something better comes along. The you who threw loyalty in the garbage when it wasn't fun anymore. She starts to say something, but I keep going. You wanted choices, you got them. And now that the Tesla guy isn't calling, suddenly I'm worth remembering. No, Jen, you don't miss me. You miss having someone around who put up with your crap when you didn't deserve it. She was still in that daze, trying to make her little fantasy world real again. Remember when you said you wanted freedom? Well, congrats, you got it. You're free from this marriage, free from this house, free from pretending you didn't know what you were doing. She didn't say a word for like half a minute. Just stood there, arms crossed, figuring out her next move. Then in this awful, pathetic voice, she asks, can't we at least talk about this? So I leaned in, real quiet but firm, and said, we did talk about it, Jen. Remember when you wanted our marriage to be some kind of group project? You decided then that I didn't matter, so yeah, I agree with you now. I just walked past her. No shouting, no throwing anything. That was the real conversation right there. Jen, I told her, start packing before I get back, and don't even try the sad act. You left that behind with your self-respect when you chose some CEO over your husband. She stood there all shaky and messed up, angry, confused, ashamed, the whole 9 yards. Then she stomped out, slamming the door. When I got back, she was gone. Then Evelyn showed up. I told her everything, how Jen acted, what she said. Evelyn didn't even bat an eye. She just nodded and kept going. This whole thing was never going to be easy for her. She's not used to losing, you know. We were out back on the patio just devouring the leftover stuff straight from the containers with forks. Not the most elegant way to eat, but the food was damn good. That's when Jennifer made up her mind. She had to go with it. And I felt free at last. The whole crazy mess officially started the very next morning. I woke up to 12 missed calls before 8 in the a.m. The first 2 voicemails started with, can we talk? And then ended with, you're a total snake. Real helpful, right? Then the texting barrage started. She texted, you're throwing everything away. And you're being cruel, you'll regret this. My personal favorite was, Evelyn was never even your friend, she was just using you. I didn't text back at all. It wasn't because I didn't have a lot to say, Believe me, I did. But I figured the best way to make her totally lose it was to just let her shout into the void. During all that, I met with my lawyer. And let me tell you something, any future Reddit husbands out there, before you get hitched, get a freaking prenup. Seriously. Not because you're planning on things going sideways, but because if they do, and your wife treats your marriage like a temporary deal, you'll be sitting there just like I was, sipping coffee while your lawyer thumbs through the paperwork and tells you she won't get a single cent. Not a penny. He looked up at me, grinning. You have the original signatures. I nodded, hard copy, plus the scanned versions in my safety deposit box. He laughed and leaned back. You, my friend, are my new favorite client. The prenup was cut and dry, the bad part. There wasn't anything in there about cheating. It shielded all my stuff back then. My cash, the place I snagged before we tied the knot, my pickup, all my gear, and the business I practically bled for. My lawyer kept going, reading the words out loud. To really rub it in, the agreement stated any money from my business before we married would stay mine and wouldn't be touched in a divorce. He looked right at me again. That includes the shop and those 2 rentals. I just nodded, yeah, everything. Even the lawnmowers, he chuckled. Came with receipts and weed whackers. Jennifer was only getting what was in her personal checking account and whatever she walked out with. That was it. No alimony, no splitting anything, not even the dog. She didn't want the dog anyway, said I was too attached, like it was a bad thing for a pet owner. He pushed the papers across the desk. All you gotta do is sign. We'll get this over to her. And that's exactly what I did. I signed those divorce papers that day. My lawyer mailed them to her new place. Yeah, she moved into a fancy high-rise after leaving, like she was starting fresh. She actually contacted me again once she got served. I nodded like she sent the papers to my safety deposit box. He leaned back and laughed. You, my friend, are my new favorite client. The prenup was super clear. Sadly, there wasn't a clause about cheating, but it covered everything I owned when we made the deal. So he started reading this stuff out loud, my stuff, you know. My money, the house I bought before we even got married, my truck, all my equipment, my whole business, everything I'd slaved for. He was just rubbing it in, plain and simple. The prenup said word for word that all my income from before the wedding stayed mine. Divorce or not, it was all protected. He looked right at me. That includes the shop and those rental places, he said. I just nodded. Everything, even my stupid lawnmowers. He actually laughed. The guy came armed with receipts and everything, even proof of my weed whackers. Jennifer only got what was in her bank account and whatever she took with her when she left. That was it. No alimony, no splitting anything, not even the dog. Not that she wanted the dog anyway, she thought I was too attached to him, like that's some kind of crime. He pushed the papers across the desk. Just sign, he said. We'll send them to her. And that's what I did. I signed right then and there. My lawyer sent them over to her fancy apartment. Yeah, she'd already upgraded to a high rise like she was starting a whole new life. She hit me up after she got the papers. I couldn't believe it. I just texted back one single sentence, totally serious. You open the door, I'm just closing it. She shot back a message saying she didn't know what was in the prenup. I just replied, not my problem. Never heard from her again, but guess who did hear from her? Evelyn. Jennifer couldn't just let it go. Nope, she couldn't stay quiet. That's not her style, you know. So Jennifer just showed up at my apartment like she was staging some kind of intervention. She pounded on the door like she was trying to kick it down. No call, no text, nothing. Just pure fury and those killer heels of hers. I opened the door real calm like I was expecting a pizza delivery instead of a screaming match. And then bam, Jennifer launches into this whole dramatic performance. You betrayed me. How could you do this to me? I didn't even flinch. I just stood there, hand on the door, thinking about whether to listen to her rant or just shut the door and let her yell at the wood. Then I said, nice and quiet, you blew up your own marriage, Jen. I just decided I wasn't going to clean up your mess. She de-quit her job, and now she was mad someone else got it. Jennifer froze, probably waiting for me to apologize or something. But I didn't. I looked her right in the eyes and told her, if that's all you came for, you can leave the same way you came in, alone. And then I shut the door. While she was out there having her little pity party, I was taking care of business. I switched all our shared accounts into my name, cut her off from everything connected to my finances. She changed every password, acting like some hacker who had something to prove. I cleaned up the whole place inside and out. I took down old pictures, donated all that wedding stuff she wouldn't take, and tossed out her leftover face creams and junk. Just like that, poof, she was gone. There's no money, nothing to fight over, no power to throw around. Evelyn, my friend, once asked if I was sick. I said no. It felt like I'd escaped a fire and there was someone waiting with a drink of water. The divorce is done, finalized. Jennifer, well, she's not my wife anymore in any way. To tell you the truth, when my lawyer called and said it was official, it was like this massive weight just lifted off me. I was standing in the middle of my kitchen, still in my work boots, and I just smiled. I wasn't mad. I wasn't even bummed out. I was done. Life wasn't perfect, but it was finally mine. Honestly, I could have just stopped the story right there. But of course, Jennifer wasn't finished making things a pain. She never is. It was my sister Nora's birthday. Backyard barbecue, nothing fancy. Just good friends, family, and food I made myself instead of some expensive caterers like Jennifer always wanted. Evelyn was helping me with the decorations. Nora made her famous potato salad. My cousin Jason had already downed 3 burgers. Good vibes were all around. Then it happened. Someone inside yelled, Leo. Someone's at the front gate. I went to check it out, and there she was, Jennifer. She was standing at the edge of the yard like she was coming back from being banished. Hair perfectly done, heels on, giant sunglasses like she was trying to hide from paparazzi. And she was holding a present bag. Seriously, a gift bag, probably filled with embarrassment and who knows what. Everyone just froze. Even the dog hushed. I strolled over, totally composed. I wasn't mad, more like entertained. Jennifer, I said, you're not welcome. She tried to force a smile. I just wanted to say hi, maybe chat. Not now, not here, and definitely not on the invite list. She took off her sunglasses and started in with her usual lines. I've been doing a lot of thinking and I want to try again, give our marriage another shot. I messed up. I just nodded. Yup, we all figured that one out. She kept on. I didn't appreciate what I had until it was gone. And seeing you with Evelyn is none of your business anymore. People were starting to watch. Nora was standing there, arms crossed across the yard. Jennifer looked like she just woke up and realized she wasn't the main character anymore. She asked, can we at least talk privately? I shook my head. No way. Whatever you came to say, save it. You had months, you had chances, you chose someone else, and now you're here because he dumped you and I didn't. She went quiet, really quiet. Then she blurted out, so you're just replacing me, like it's that easy. I leaned in close and made sure everyone heard. You replaced yourself the second you gave me the green light to not be your main focus. She tried to smooth things over. This isn't over. You can't just erase everything we had. I laughed. Jennifer, you did the erasing. I just picked up the mess and handed you the broom. She opened her mouth like she was about to blow, but Evelyn walked over, cool as a cucumber. She didn't say a word, just stood there beside me. Honestly, that was all it took. Jennifer was just staring at her like she was waiting for a big announcement or something. Evelyn just cocked her head to the side and said, you were his past. I'm his present and his future, so you can leave now. Jennifer just stood there for a beat like she expected anyone to stick up for her, but no one did. She just turned around without a peep. She walked right back through the gate she'd come through, still holding that gift bag. A minute later, the music started up again. Nora offered me another burger. Like nothing had happened, she just walked by and wished me a happy birthday. Evelyn and I sat back down and she just looked at me and said, that felt good. I was like, better than winning the lottery. So that's the whole story. Jennifer wanted choices. Well, she got them. Then she figured out real quick that love doesn't come with a spare tire, you know. She figured I was weak enough to just sit around and wait. She was wrong. I didn't just survive it. I built something amazing with someone else. If anyone reading this is thinking about giving them another shot, just don't. Don't let them become someone else's problem. You've got amazing stuff to look forward to after all this. Peace. Real, honest to goodness peace. And for the record, Evelyn makes the best lasagna ever.